Are you waiting for?
Oh, yeah.
Are we waiting for you?
It's still publishing, almost
Okay.
done.
Okay.
Sorry. Alrighty.
All right. Well, I'm going to call the August 10th, 2020 Liberty Union-Thurston Board of Education meeting to order. Ms. Boyer, roll call.
Ms. Cato? Here. Mr. Hookrattle?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Shook?
Here.
Dr. Walter?
Here. Please turn to the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 would be discussion and approval of the previous minutes. I think that takes us to up page 23, I believe. That's got our regular meeting from July 13th. And what was the date of our special meeting?
22nd.
22nd. Does anybody have any corrections to the minutes? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
So I've got a motion by Carol Cato, seconded by Sean Shook to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of the Liberty Union-Thurston Board of Education meeting held on July 13th, 2020, and the special meeting of the Board of Education held on July 22nd, 2020 as printed. Ms. Boyer?
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Shook?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes. Monthly financial statements, Ms. Boyer?
Alright, you have our bank reconciliation. And then the new monthly report. We just started the year, so not a whole lot here. Our income tax was down almost 286,000, but our property tax advances were up. That's why our comparison to last year, the revenue's up over what it was last year at this time. The revenue's on page 4 and 5.
Is that because of the last year with a lot of the revisions on the property values went through? Is that why?
It just has a lot to do with what they give us in the advance and when. And this year we got 2 advances in the month of July. Last year we only had 1 for the general fund. Then on page 6 and 7 are the expenses. And, of course, there were multiple expenditures due to COVID. And there's, also a lot that will be moving money to grants that we receive that'll cover, and I have been, this month moving a lot of different expenses to the different grants. We'll just have to watch and see how everything goes. Obviously, everything's kind of up in the air right now. Then on page 8 is the interest. And then we have our checks, the bills we paid.
Before we get to that, just
Yeah.
on the topic of grants, I did see where the governor came out for Ohio schools. Applications are now being accepted for the Broadband Ohio Connectivity Grant. Are we looking into that? And
Yeah, we got the notification today.
you may need to come up here,
Oh.
just so that people can hear you, in case other folks are listening. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we got the notification today, from the ODE. They sent a notification and then you had to reply back to a specific email to get access to the grant if you're interested. So we replied back and we got that access this afternoon. It's a pretty simple grant and just looking at it, but we have our admin meeting tomorrow morning to discuss the details, because we can spend it for a variety of we have to select a group of students and how we're gonna support them and kind of write that up. So it's a
Okay.
pretty simple application, but we got it this afternoon, so.
Okay, cool.
Yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
So, may I add to it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the grant, it has to be, applied for, received, and spent before the end of December. So, the concern that I have when we analyze this, let's assume that we set up a system that puts, a hotspot out there. And there's a contract behind it. And we obligate ourselves for all year. The money has to be spent and stopped. You can't obligate into the future. So if we had a contract for a hotspot, then the school district would then have to pay for the remainder of that. So I think we have to be careful about how we expose ourselves to that. I mean, we could, but you get sucked into that, and then there's this outstanding 60–70% left out there to take care of on the general fund side, because we can't use that money past December. We have to spend it all. Now, there are other features in there. I was asking April if she's heard anything about infrastructure. So you could have, you could enhance the infrastructure. We, under an E-rate, John had turned in an E-rate application, but it was just so high in terms of its cost, in terms of, and the benefit. But there is that item that we could purchase in whole, maybe by December, and enhance certain devices, routing devices, or a storage device, or whatever in the system. I just want to have us, and I'll say it when we meet with the administrators, be careful that we don't buy something, then we're obligated at a real hefty expense after December. It's too bad it's set up that way, but it's the way it's set up.
All right, so then we have our bills. And on page 1, first you have a group of individuals' names. Those are mainly DC trip refunds. And then 94972 to forecast analysis, that's $12,770. That's our license for support for the 5-year forecast, the monthly reporting that I give you each month, and the software. And that came from the general fund. Down a little further, 94986, USI Insurance Service National, $39,328. That's for property, liability, special ed, and vehicle insurance. And that comes out of the general fund. They're also going to give us a refund for a portion of our vehicle insurance, since they haven't been running. Then down further, 95004, McGraw-Hill Companies for $18,215. That was for digital licenses for 3 years for Mass, and that came from the general fund. On page 2, 95011 to SC Strategic Solutions for $8,690. That's our SC View license. That's where we do our requisitions, our receipts, where we can do timesheets, and that's our digital storage, and that came from the general fund. 95018, Grade Cam Insight for $1,600. That's Grade Cam student licenses and handwriting recognition software, and that came from the general fund. And down 95043 to McGraw-Hill Companies for $15,000. That's a 3-year digital math license from the general fund. And a little further down, 95051, Source One Supply for $3,373.82. $694.77 was cleaning supplies from the general fund. And then hand sanitizer for all buildings of $2,679.05, and that came from our 507 fund, which is the Esser's CARES Act fund. Page 3, 95065 to Meta Solutions for $41,850. That's our internet connectivity, and of that, 5,400 comes from our state grant, connectivity grant, and the balance is from the general fund. Then starting at check 95072 on down, those are refunds from the Washington DC trip. And then continued on page 4, you have more refunds. And then starting at 95141 to 95147, they were all to Liberty Union. That's where we took some of the refunds people had due to them and put it towards the fees that they had owed. 95152 to David Price for $2,350. That's to excavate, form, and pour concrete at the football complex and press box, and that came from the building fund. 95154 to EMS Link for $9,569. That's eSchool View and web hosting and Instant Connect, and that came from the general fund. And the remainder is, list of names is ranging from $100 to $250. Those were the attendance bonuses. And then 95174 on page 5 for $5,000. That was elementary school and middle school licenses for professional development, general fund. And then 95177 Baltimore Builder for $19,850.61. That was miscellaneous supplies, but $15,500 was for trusses for the new athletic building. Then after that you have, we didn't have any donations this month, and you have the appropriation changes for the 018-200 to 300.
I have a motion to approve the monthly financial items.
So moved.
I have a motion by Sean Shook, seconded by Carol Cato to approve monthly financial items as stated above. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Hook-Rattle?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Shook?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
Item 5, new business financial, and we do have an addendum on a separate page here. Item A is bus service. Superintendent and Transportation Director recommend a rate of $85 per hour for mechanic services performed outside the Liberty Union-Thurston District. B is open new fund, 510 Rural and Small Town School District. Ms. April Boyer, Treasurer, would like to open an account for coronavirus relief funds. C is appropriations. The Treasurer recommends approval of the 2021 current appropriations. And then we've got, that's it, that's new business financial. Any questions, or do you want to speak on anything there?
Sure.
April?
Well, that's another grant that they just gave us, and this has to be spent by December 30th or 31st, one of the 2 days. $63,670.21 for.
What was it again, 63?
$63,670.21. That's what I then did the appropriation for.
Okay.
And it's to spend on things that we have to purchase because of coronavirus.
Do I have a motion for new business financial?
So moved.
Motion by Bill Moore, seconded by Sean Shook to approve new business financial items as stated above. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Shook?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
Mr. Hook-Rattle?
Yes.
Item C, new business personnel. A is a correction on step. On June 8, 2020, the Board of Education meeting, Chris Kilger was given a 2-year contract at step 7. He should have been given a contract at step 6. Treasurer April Boyer recommends approval. B is Assistant Treasurer. The Treasurer recommends Abigail McMillan on a part-time as-needed basis at step 3 with a start date of August 1st, 2020. C, reassigned personnel, the superintendent and food service supervisor recommend the following candidate for elementary head cook named Cam Pulvermacher. Position is elementary head cook, step 10, plus 50 cents on food service schedule, effective August 11th, 2020. D, supplemental position / contract. The following personnel are recommended by the superintendent. I won't read through all those, but most of those are some of our fall coaches, I believe. Do I have a motion for the new business personnel?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Carol Cato, seconded by Sean Shook to approve the new business personnel items as stated above. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Shook?
Yes.
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item 7, new business other, we have policy updates. A, we've got GBRA -R, Family and Medical Leave Act expansion. And then we've got item 2, which is GBRAA-R, emergency paid sick leave. And then we get into item B, which is the 2021-2022 post-school calendar. The superintendent, Dr. Michael Johnson, is recommending approval of the attached 2021-2022 school calendar. And then item C are handbooks. The superintendent and building principals recommend approval of the following handbooks. The elementary school staff handbook and student handbook are presented with changes. Hey, do you want to add anything to anything there, Dr. Johnson?
No, the policies, that you're passing provide an additional benefit for leave. And these laws were amended and they, go through again December of this year. So, in the presentation today, I presented these particular laws and their benefits to all the staff at the 3 meetings we had today. So it just formalizes it in policy.
So question on 2, the paid sick leave. So if the employee, it says there, if the employee is unable to work or telework because the employee, and there's 1 through 6 there. But if the employee is able to telework, even though they have been told to self-quarantine, we're okay with that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think it would be good to maybe circle back and make sure. I know, someone called me earlier and was really nervous about this because they felt like they were being told that they had to, potentially not work, like they had to take sick time. As opposed to, if they're able to work, telecommute, we're okay with that. Based off this,
That's
correct?
what we're hoping people will, I mean, obviously, all jobs you can't do over the
Telecommute.
internet.
Telework.
Yes, but that's our, what we're looking forward to doing is giving people the opportunity to work from home if needed.
So I had that question twice today. You gotta be careful how to answer it, because, must have answered inconsistently today. But if we're on remote and a person, needs to stay home, they don't have to come in. But if we're under orange and we're coming in, they're gonna have to take the leave.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anything on the handbooks?
I have none. You have anything, Tim Harris, on the handbook that you wanna share? Is he muted?
Not at this time.
Okay. Good. You just updating it, tell us just a couple of reasons why you brought it here to update it.
It had not been presented yet to the board
Okay,
since Linda had left. So I
okay,
needed to put an update with my information on there and the rest of the building. But there's things in there that we're gonna have to revisit as we move forward, but right now I just wanted to make sure we had something on the books, with the board.
okay.
Do I have a motion for the new business? Personnel other?
Second.
Got a motion by Sean Shook, seconded by Bill Moore, to approve the new business other items as stated. Ms. Boyer?
Dr. Walter?
Yes.
Ms. Cato?
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Shook?
Yes. Dr. Johnson, do we have a need for executive session?
I don't.
No. Does anybody?
Once the board does.
No, I don't have any. So we can move over that. Item 10.
I
Oh,
just
sorry.
had a real quick question,
Yeah.
maybe some explanation from Dr. Johnson. When we move from one, let's say from purple back into orange, how quickly is the staff able to get the kids back into school?
Right.
I asked you that question earlier, and you said you kind of
Right.
did that today.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So we're currently at red. We're looking in great anticipation for an orange. Most of the indicators, except the first one, is what's kind of gone away. The first one keeps us red, and that is the number per 100,000. And I just believe that if we all in Fairfield County wore these masks, because here's the best example, and I shared it today with the staff. Athens County was almost purple. Athens County is about the same population as Fairfield County, I think, around that, minus the population of students that show up every year. Within a short period of time, they went from almost purple to orange. And they had a real big campaign, maybe the college university helped them with that, and getting people to wear these masks, because this is the determiner here. I think if we could get more and more people, even at the small locations and when they go to the store and when they meet and that kind of thing, get to wear the mask, we'd be in orange. I believe it. So, we're gonna get there, I think, eventually. The question is, how long will it take us to turn around? Well, we started asking questions last week. Get in the parent, I think it's a parent porthole we want everybody to go to and answer, give us your answer. Are you going to come to school under any circumstance? We go to orange, you come to school. If you're not, let us know, because we want to plan accordingly. That impacts a lot of things in terms of staffing and how we are going to schedule and transportation.
Right.
The other is, if we go back to orange, are you going to want transportation? Because some people will get their kids here, but they don't want them to ride the bus. So we're trying to figure out how many are gonna ride the bus. Our answers on that are 60% when we last looked at it. We sent out another appeal. Tomorrow when we have our administrative meeting, I wanna try to get more details as to who hasn't answered. Because if you haven't answered, we're gonna try to call them. Get the bus drivers to do it, or somebody to start calling people to give us those two answers. We just need them. Once we have those, then we can put the route together. I think if we had those, it wouldn't take us long to get there, a week, less than a week. That would be my goal. Some are saying we need a week and a half, but if we had that kind of detail, we could put, it's the bus routes that we can put together. Then, as I said to the staff today, when we get our opportunity at orange and to see how it works and so forth, and it turns red, I've been calling it a pivot. We pivot back, and if it turns orange, we pivot back. So let's say Thursday is the consistent day where we know something. Once it goes to orange, hopefully it stays to orange a long time, even goes to yellow. But if it got worse, and we had that notice on Thursday, we would pivot back on Monday. We got to red and went back to orange and got that notice on Thursday, we went to orange, because we could pivot back and forth. We're also might have to have an announcement to the community. Let's assume that we don't have enough staff members. So we've asked our substitutes, are you gonna substitute? We had difficulty with substitutes already, but a large number of them said no, they're not going to come in and sub. So our pool is down. We start operating the schools. We don't have enough staff members. We may have to say, well, we can't open up schools. That's safe. I hope that doesn't happen, because we're going to assign aides, we're going to assign other teachers, we're going to assign who we can to keep things running and operational. The other item that could cause us to think about a temporary closure would be COVID positive on the staff, or a couple of COVID positives, whatever. I've talked to Larry Hanna, and I said, if we have a COVID positive, I'm calling you for support. And, he said he would be here to help us support, when and what we do with the COVID positive. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but that could be another reason to pause, assess, and open up again. Those are the variables we talked about today. And I would use the communication system that we use to, call off school for snow day.
Right. Anybody else have any? All right. Well, if not, the next regular Board of Education meeting will be held Monday, September 14th, 2020 at 7 o'clock in the district boardroom. Item 11 is adjourned. I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Sean Schiff, seconded by Sean Hookrattle to adjourn at 7:28 p.m. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shook,
Yes.
Dr. Walter,
Yes.
Ms. Cato,
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle.
Yes.